Hi students, welcome back to the Vignan digital classes. My name is A. Srinivas, lecturer in physics, Vignan Junior College. Here we are discussing electromagnetic induction. Here already we started electromagnetic induction chapter. We completed 2 videos belongs to electromagnetic induction. In first video we discussed about Faraday's experiments and introduction of electromagnetic induction. In second video, the equation form of Faraday's law followed by motional EMF and their applications. And today we continue the discussion of electromagnetic induction. In the present video, in electromagnetic induction chapter, the contents that we are going to discuss, or we will talk about motional EMF induced in a rotating bar. In previous video, we find out the motional EMF of a bar moving linearly in perpendicular to the magnetic field. Now, we talk about the motional EMF induced in a rotating bar. If you consider a metallic bar and it is rotating with angular velocity, then motion EMF induced by virtue of the rotation of the bar in magnetic field. And second one is eddy currents. When there is a magnetic flux linked with the coil changes, in this video we are observing the eddy currents induced in a metal plate. We will discuss about that eddy currents. When magnetic flux linked with a metal plate changes, there are circulating currents named as the eddy currents. And we have to define what is meant by eddy currents and what are advantages of eddy currents. There are so many advantages nowadays regarding these eddy currents, and we will discuss about the advantages of eddy currents and some problems belongs to Faraday's laws, motion EMF and eddy currents. So let us move on to the first topic, that is motion EMF induced in a rotating bar. So this is the first topic, motional EMF of a rotating bar. Students, here you are observing this white color. One is a bar, a metallic bar. Let this white color object be a metallic bar, and this yellow color is the circular path along which the bar is rotating. Here let us consider length of bar. Here let us consider length of bar. Length of bar is also equal to radius of circle is equal to L. Let L be the length of the white colored object in the diagram. Length of bar is also equal to radius of the circle. In that radius it is rotating, that is L. And here the angular velocity, let the bar be rotating with angular velocity omega. Let us assume bar be rotating with angular velocity omega in anti-clockwise direction. There is a uniform magnetic field in the region, either into the boat or out of the boat, perpendicular to the plane. Let us consider uniform magnetic field. Then the magnetic field present in the region is B, strength of magnetic field is B. Students, this rotating bar made up of a metal of length L, therefore radius of the circle is also equal to L. And here the angular velocity of rotation in anti-clockwise direction is omega and the magnetic field is B. I will show the magnetic field and the angular velocity in animation. Let us see. This is the uniform magnetic field. Once again you may observe, this is the uniform magnetic field in this region which is directed into the board. Here the symbol shows into mark, so that we assume the magnetic field B is directed into the board. Throughout this plane there is a magnetic field. And let this rod be rotating in that uniform magnetic field in anti-clockwise direction. See the students, this rod how it is rotating. As shown in this animation, the rod is rotating with the uniform angular velocity in this direction. So here the rod is rotating. You may observe once again the rod is rotating with uniform angular velocity omega. in that anti-clockwise direction. As shown in the diagram, in anti-clockwise direction, rod is rotating with the angular velocity omega. Then there is EMF induced in the rod. We have to find out the magnitude of EMF induced in the rod under this condition. So to have that EMF, here let us consider a clear vision of the rotating rod. Of course, undoubtedly there is uniform magnetic field present B, as I shown already. There is a uniform magnetic field directed into the boat everywhere. Everywhere in this region there is uniform magnetic field, as I shown already in the animation B, and rod is rotating with in anti-clockwise direction with angular velocity omega. Okay. Here the linear velocity of the rod changes from point to point. You know that relation between linear velocity and angular velocity is V is equal to R omega. This is the very well known relation. If omega is the angular velocity of any object, the linear velocity is V is equal to R omega. Here when we consider different elements of the rod, different elements of the rod are at different distances from center. So as distance of the element of the rod changes from center, the radius is changing as well as the linear velocity is changing. So linear velocity is not uniform for all elements of the rod. Linear velocity is not constant for all elements of the rod. That's why let us consider an element. Let us consider an element at a distance x from center. If O is the center of the circle, at a distance x from center of the circle, let us consider an element. Let this be the element consider. So I shown the element with this yellow color shaded part. Dx is the length of the element. I drawn the element with yellow color in the given rod. Dx be the length of the element. Dx be the length of the element at a distance x from center of the circle. Then omega is the angular velocity of the rod. Then linear velocity of this element. Linear velocity of this element is, let it be small v, is equal to x omega. We know that v is equal to r omega. So radius of this element from center is x, and angular velocity of any point is omega. Then v is equal to x omega. Then here there is an element of length dx moving with velocity v perpendicular to its length, and there is uniform magnetic field directed into the boat in that region. Then already we know the expression for motion EMF developed inside the rod. So EMF induced in small element, let it be dE. EMF induced in small element, because it is not the EMF of total rod. So far just we consider the EMF induced in a small element of the rod. Then EMF induced in the small element of rod is equal to BLV. You know the formula for motion EMF, BLV. So B is the magnetic field directed into the boat, and along x-axis there is element of length dx, L in place of L, length of element, we consider element of length dx, B dx, BLV into V. Therefore D is equal to B dx into V is equal to x omega. V is x omega. Okay. Then total EMF in the rod. Therefore the EMF in rotating bar. Here we have to find out the EMF induced in the rotating bar. So EMF induced in the rotating bar is E is equal to integral dE. By integrating the EMF expression in the limits of x is equal to 0 to x is equal to L. X is equal to 0 is first end, x is equal to L means second end. Total length of the rod is L. So under the limits of x is equal to 0 to L, by integrating this expression we find the total EMF induced in the given rotating bar. Then integral dE. Then here integral B omega x dx. By rearranging them properly, so integral dE means integral B omega x dx, whereas x is changing from x is equal to 0 to x is equal to L. X is equal to 0 is the first end, x is equal to L is the second end. Then this is equal to B omega into integral x dx. B omega is constant. Magnetic field directed into the boat is uniform and constant always. Omega is also uniform angular velocity of rotating bar. So B omega are independent of element length. So they are kept constant, kept outside the integration formula. B omega integral x dx. Integral x dx means x square by 2. X square by 2. So this is equal to, whereas x is changing from x is equal to 0 to x is equal to L. Substitute upper limit x is equal to L, it becomes L square, and x is equal to 0 means minus 0, L square minus 0 by L. Therefore the formula for EMF induced in the rotating bar is B omega L square by 2. Hence we come to the conclusion of finding the EMF, motion EMF of rotating bar B omega L square by 2. Just I revise the derivation. Let us consider a rod of length L rotating with uniform angular velocity omega in a region of magnetic field B directed into the board. As the linear velocity is changing from element to element, in the rotating bar, let us consider element of length dx at a distance x from center. Consider element of length dx at a distance x from center. The linear velocity of this element is V is equal to x omega. Then only in that element, only in this considered element, EMF induced is BLV is the formula. In that B into length of element considered is dx into V, where V is x omega. This is only EMF in the small element considered in the length of rod. Then to find out total EMF of the rod, integrate the above equation. EMF in rotating bar, integrate above equation, integral B omega x dx. B omega are constants, B omega integral x dx. Integral x dx means x square by 2. Substituting the limits to get total EMF of rotating bar, limits are changes from x is equal to 0 to x is equal to L. First end at x is equal to 0, second end is x is equal to L. By using integration between these two limits, we found out motion EMF of the total rotating bar. So that is equal to x is B omega x square by 2, x is equal to 0 to L, that is L square minus 0 by 2. Therefore, EMF induced in the rotating bar is B omega L square by 2. So we conclude that if there is a bar rotating with uniform angular velocity omega, length of bar is L, and magnetic field perpendicular to the plane of rotation is B, then EMF induced in the rotating bar is given by this expression B omega L square divided by 2. Then I would like to find out what is the direction of the current passing through it. Direction of current. Of course, the current, if R is the resistance of the between the two ends of the rotating bar, if R is the resistance between the two ends of rotating bar, then we know that according to Ohm's law E is equal to E by R. Then of course B omega L square by 2R. B omega L square divided by 2R is the current passing through it. Then what is the direction of that current? Here it is calculated by Fleming right hand rule, or a simple method is other alternate shortcut idea to find out the direction of current in rotating in motional EMF is V bar cross V bar. So for this rotating bar, V bar is like this. See the arrow mark. So this is V bar, tangential velocity, into B bar is into the board. So if you assume the magnetic field is directed to the board, in that situation, the V bar cross V bar showing the right hand thumb rule in this direction. Therefore, the rotating bar, if it rotates in anti-clockwise direction and current flows towards the center of the circle, current flows as shown in the diagram, current flows towards the center of the circle, so that this rotating bar becomes a small battery having positive terminal towards the center and negative terminal towards the periphery. So it becomes a small battery of EMF derived expression B omega L square by 2 by having positive terminal towards the center and negative terminal towards periphery. If suppose in the same situation, if you assume the magnetic field is directed out of the board, then V bar cross V bar is like this, thumb is showing outwards. In that situation, if magnetic field is out of the board, in that situation, the current direction is opposite to outwards, towards away from radius. Magnetic field is out of the board, current is away from the radius, away from the center, outward direction, as well as in that situation positive terminal is towards periphery and negative terminal is towards center. So remember, by changing the direction of angular velocity or by changing the direction of magnetic field, the direction of flow of current changes. So that's why we always find the direction of current or location of positive and negative terminals of battery by using either Fleming left hand rule or V bar cross V bar direction. So this is the expression for motion EMF and direction of flow of current, as well as the symbols of positive and negative terminals of the battery formed by motion EMF. So let us move on to one application of motion EMF rotating bar. So here let us move on to one application. So in spite of having one bar, as we discussed in the previous part, let us consider there are number of bars. Of course here we have 8 bars. There may be any number of bars. It appears to be spokes of a bicycle wheel of a bicycle. Spokes of a wheel of a bicycle having number of spokes. So each one is the spoke, similar to spoke of a rotating wheel of a bicycle. Length of each wheel, length of each spoke is L. Therefore radius of the circle is also equal to L. And let this wheel be rotating like this with the angular velocity omega. So when cycle is moving forward, wheels are also rotating. Let the wheel be rotating in anti-clockwise direction. Then if you consider one bar, this bar, length of this spoke or length of this each piece is L and rotating with omega. And B is the magnetic field. Here this is the magnetic field which is directed into the board. There is a magnetic field directed into the board. Then EMF induced, if you consider one bar, this bar is equivalent to as V bar cross B bar. According to this consideration of angular velocity in anti-clockwise direction and magnetic field directed into the board. And here the motion EMF in the bar is directed towards the center. There is flow of charges, positive charges, conventional charges towards the center. Therefore this is equivalent to a small battery like this by having positive terminal at the center and negative terminal towards periphery, and current travels like this, and EMF induced in one spoke considered to be B omega L square divided by 2, where B is the magnetic field directed into the board and omega is the angular velocity, L is the length of each spoke or each bar. Then if you consider number of bars, 8 bars are there. So each one having a positive terminal here, negative terminal here. This is the center. Here for this one also this is positive terminal and this is the negative terminal. So each bar is like this. Positive terminals are always towards the center and negative terminals are away from the center. Each bar is like this. Positive terminals are towards the center and negative terminals are away from the center. For this anti-clockwise direction of rotation of the wheel of a bicycle, okay, and the region in which there is magnetic field directed into the board, the space as shown in the adjacent diagram image, magnetic field is directed into the board and angular velocity is in anti-clockwise direction. V bar cross B bar thumb is showing always towards the center. If you consider V bar cross B bar, thumb is showing towards the center, therefore direction of the motion EMF is towards the center. So for each spoke, this is the situation. Positive terminal is towards center and negative terminal is towards periphery. In any number of spokes, each spoke we have this situation. All are parallel to each other and we connect them with a connecting wire. Let this periphery is a connecting wire. So all negative terminals are connected together, all positive terminals are connected together. See here, when periphery is connected with a good conductor, all negative terminals for all these cells are connected together and positive terminals are connected at the center. Therefore, these are n number of cells connected in parallel. If there are n spokes, then it is assumed to be n number of cells connected in parallel, each having EMF E. Therefore, net EMF, as all are identical cells connected in parallel. All identical cells connected in parallel, net EMF of parallel combination is equal to EMF of one cell, simply. If there are n identical cells, each having EMF E connected in parallel, the net EMF is E. We studied this parallel combination of cells already in current electricity. We apply it now. then n number of cells, identical cells, each having EMF E connected in parallel, therefore net EMF is equal to E, even though there are n number of cells. For example, if let this be a cycle wheel, at outside the wheel there is a rim which is a good conductor, and each wheel is connected to the rim, each spoke of the wheel is connected to the rim from the center. Center is the axial of the wheel. When wheel is rotating, so suppose the bicycle is moving here and wheel is rotating like this, then the magnetic field that crosses the plane of rotation. Here there is a vertical plane in which the wheel is rotating. Vertical plane in which wheel is rotating, then magnetic field that crosses the vertical plane is B, that B now becomes BH. This B is equal to horizontal component of Earth magnetic field. Horizontal component of Earth magnetic field is the magnetic field directed into the plane and crosses the plane of rotation. Therefore, the EMF induced in each spoke is equal to B omega L square by 2. Now B becomes BH, omega L square divided by 2. L is the length of each spoke, omega is the angular velocity of rotation of the wheel. The perpendicular to the plane of rotation, there is a horizontal component of Earth magnetic field crossing it. Then EMF in each spoke is BH omega L square by 2. Whatever may be the number of spokes in the wheel, all are in parallel, identical. Then according to the explained concept, then EMF of all spokes together also gives the EMF of one cell because of parallel combination. It is also equal to BH omega L square divided by 2. Okay, this is one good application of motion EMF of rotating bar. And let us move on to the eddy currents. So here we go for the eddy currents. So this is the one interesting topic, students. Nowadays we are also using applications of eddy currents in so many sectors. And let me first define the eddy currents, then we go for advantages of eddy currents. Once you understand the concept of eddy current, then similarly you follow the advantages of eddy currents very easily. So let us move on to the definition of eddy current now. So here the induced circulating currents produced in a solid metal due to change in magnetic field in the metal are called eddy currents. So to have a clear explanation of this definition, you may not understood in definition form, with the help of an image or explanation you understood it very easily. Let us consider to have the clear idea. Let this be a metallic block, a bulk metal. Let this be a metallic block, a bulk metal. Students, so in this animation you are observing a metallic block, okay, made up of copper or iron or steel, whatever it may be, aluminium. Let it be a metallic block. Now there is a change in, we produce the change of magnetic flux through metallic block by using a magnet or electromagnet like this. See the students, there are magnetic lines of forces. Now there is no magnetic field. There is no magnetic field in the metallic block. Now suddenly we introduced a magnetic field and allowed to pass through them in upward direction. See the animation, and we allow the magnetic field. Suddenly there is a growth of magnetic field in upward direction. See the animation like that. There is a growth of magnetic field in upward direction. But change of magnetic flux does not accepted by any material, any metal. So already we discussed in Faraday's laws, we discussed in Faraday's experiment as well as Lenz's law. We talk about already belongs to this motion EMF induced in a loop. Now we are discussing EMF induced in a metallic blocks. That is the difference. They already discussed about EMF induced in a metal loop. Now what is about the EMF induced in a metal blocks? That belongs to eddy currents. So whenever there is a sudden growth of magnetic flux in upward direction, the growth of magnetic flux is not accepted by the metallic block and it should oppose the growth of magnetic flux. In order to oppose the growth of magnetic flux, there are some currents must be induced in a metallic block such that the magnetic flux now developed by the metallic block should oppose the growth of flux. The magnetic block itself develops a magnetic field that opposes the growth of magnetic flux, so that when there is a growth of magnetic flux in upward direction, automatically, as it is a metal block, it has some free electrons, it rotates the free electrons in circular path. It must rotate the currents in circular path. See, like this, in circular path in this direction, so that this downward face becomes the north pole. Here this face becomes north pole, students. Here this face becomes north pole, and here flux is growing means we are using a north pole face of magnet, north pole face of a magnet towards the metallic block, and we are moving towards metallic block so that flux through that increases. But this metallic block doesn't accept the growth of magnetic flux. So whenever we increase, we start increasing the magnetic flux in the metallic block, automatically the metal electrons in the metal themselves start circulating and they revolve in circular path as shown in the diagram in the particular direction, and the bottom face of the metallic blocks becomes north pole and opposes the growth of flux. This type of currents are known as the eddies currents, because whenever a magnetic flux is changing through the metallic block, there are currents induced in them. Those current induced in the metallic blocks, the flow pattern of the currents are in circulating, which resembles the eddies in swirling eddies in water. So I repeat the statement. If magnetic flux through the metallic block changes, then induced current in metal block are circulating. The flow pattern, observe the flow pattern. This is the flow pattern. The flow pattern of induced current are circulating, and they resembles the swirling eddies in water. The flow pattern of induced current. Observe the students, the flow pattern in this way. There is a flow pattern of induced current. The flow pattern of induced current resembles swirling eddies of water. So you might have known about the eddies formed in water. When water is flowing, then there is a possibility of having swirling eddies in water. Similar to swirling eddies in water, here the flow pattern of current is also similar to eddies of water. That's why this current is named as the eddy current. The induced circulating currents. Here we are observing induced circulating currents produced in a solid metal due to change in magnetic field. These are known as eddy currents. Here, to have a clear vision, I will show one more animation for you. So these circulating currents are known as the eddy currents. So in this animation, we understand it more clearly. This is the south pole moving towards a metallic plate. This is a clearly metallic plate. Students, this is a metallic plate, and south face is approaching metallic plate. Suddenly there is a change in magnetic flux through the metal plate by approaching a south pole of magnets towards them. This change in magnetic flux must be opposed by the metal plate according to Faraday's experiment. So that the face of this metal plate should become a south pole. In order to prevent the change in magnetic flux, the face of the metal plate must become a south pole. In order to have the south pole, here the circulating current, if the circulating currents are like this, if circulating currents are like this in clockwise direction, this face is north pole and face towards the magnet becomes south pole, obviously. Therefore here the students observe the current is circulating like this. The current is circulating like this in clockwise direction. Observe students, already you are observing the animation. Once again I am showing current is circulating. A different radius, current is circulating like this in clockwise direction. If current is circulating in clockwise direction, this face behind the metal plate becomes north pole and face towards the magnet becomes south pole. Therefore, this face becomes south pole and it opposes the approaching of south pole towards it. It opposes this phase. By having this eddy current, circulating currents are induced in the metal plate. The circulating current induced in the metal plate are named as the eddy current because they resemble the swirling eddies of water. Hence, it is named as the eddy current. And when south pole is approaching, the circulating eddy current travels in clockwise direction, so that back face of the metal blocks becomes the north pole and face towards the magnet becomes south pole, and this newly formed south pole opposes the permanent magnet south pole and try to prevent the approaching of south pole and try to oppose the change in magnetic flux. In order to oppose the change in magnetic flux, in that phenomena, here also we are observing induced current which are in circulating patterns named as the eddy currents. And there is a mechanical opposition force developed between the moving magnet and the metal block. There is a clearly mechanically opposing force is developed. As south pole of magnet is approaching, the face of the coil becomes south pole, and there is a repulsion force of interaction between the south pole of magnet and the south pole formed due to eddy current. This repulsion force may stop the magnet. So there is a possibility of stopping the moving magnet. There is a possibility of stopping the moving magnet by virtue of this phenomena, and hence there are so many advantages of eddy currents in day-to-day life. And let us see the advantages of eddy currents. Here we go for the first advantage. The first advantage of eddy current is in deadbeat galvanometer, eddy currents are used to stop the damping of the coil in shorter interval. So let me to explain what is the meaning of this first advantage. Here already we know, we discussed very clearly about moving coil galvanometer in moving charges and magnetism chapter. Here let this be one image of that moving coil galvanometer. Students, here we are observing one image of moving coil galvanometer. Here moving coil galvanometer is a very sensitive galvanometer. It can measure even a small current in the order of even the nano or micro amperes. Here when the positive and negative terminals of the circuit given to it, there is a current through coil. This is the coil. You are observing the copper wire here circulated in this plane. Current is passing through the coil. When current carrying coil placed in permanent magnet, this is a radially existing magnetic field. This red and blue images shows the magnetic field, permanent magnets. Now this is the current carrying coil placed in uniform magnetic field, experiences a torque and needle deflects. If there is a current passing through the coil, current carrying coil is now in magnetic field, experiences a torque, so that needle deflects. The deflection of needle shows the current passing through the moving coil galvanometer. That is okay, that is the known thing. Here, once current is given and removed, then magnet, the needle deflects. After removal of current, the needle may oscillate to and fro like this. Needle may oscillate to and fro. It doesn't stop abruptly. Once current is given, it shows the current. After removing the current, it doesn't stop. It's continue its oscillation. That is the one disadvantage. The needle may continue its oscillation. We have to stop the oscillation. And after measuring the current, the oscillation should be stopped as early as possible to stop the oscillations of the needle. Here we use the advantage of eddy current. Eddy currents are advantages here to stop the needle without oscillating. The oscillations of the needle may stop immediately and the needle comes to rest after evaluation of current. That is one advantage of eddy currents. How it is possible? So let me explain how eddy currents phenomenon becomes advantageous to stop the oscillation of the needle after measuring the current. Here there is a iron core inside the coil. We know it very well. To have effective magnetic field, we inserted already a iron core inside the coil. Here the outside structure, you are observing the coil. Inside the coil there is iron core to have more strength magnetic field. So once current is measured, the needle starts oscillating. When needle starts oscillating, the magnetic flux through the iron core get changes. Magnetic flux through the iron core. Assume there is iron core inside the coil. Magnetic flux through the iron core get changes. When magnetic flux through the bulk material changes, induced currents are developed in eddy currents. Though induced current are in circular pattern, eddy currents are developed. Eddy currents apply some magnetic opposite force against the magnetic field. This induced current here in this image you are observing, when south pole is approaching, the eddy currents are induced in circulating form, and the face becomes south pole and it opposes the motion of the south pole of the magnet. Similarly, when suppose the needle get oscillating, needle gets started oscillations, then the magnetic flux through the iron rod which is inside the coil get changing. Magnetic flux through the iron rod inside the coil get changing. The change in magnetic flux develops a induced current in form of eddy currents, and the eddy current applies a magnetic force in opposite direction and it stops the needle suddenly. So a needle is stopping after invention of current, after calculating current, needle gets stopped by the phenomena of eddy currents. Hence it is also known as a deadbeat galvanometer, because the oscillations becomes dead now, stopped now. Hence it is named as deadbeat galvanometer. Eddy currents are used to stop the damping of the coil and shorter interval. So I hope you followed it, and let us move on to the next application of eddy currents. We completed first application, let us move on to the second application of eddy currents. Here let it be second application of eddy current. Here eddy currents are very much useful in industries to melt the metals by producing heat through them. In preparation of alloys, in industries, so many alloys are prepared. We know that there are so many advantages of alloys. We are using alloy wheels for bikes. We are using alloy wheels for cars. Like that, there are so many advantages of alloys in our daily life. To prepare alloys, we have to mix the metals in proper ratio. Number of metals should be mixed in proper ratio to prepare the required alloy. So, the melting point of any metal is very high temperature. Melting point is very high for metals. So, to melt them, by reaching that high temperature, more amount of heat should pass them. So, in melting of metals, in order to prepare alloys, to melt a metal, we use the concept of eddy current. So, let me to describe how the metals are melted by using eddy currents. Here, this is the required metal. In red color, you are observing this is the hot iron, let it be hot iron rod. So, in vertical direction, let it be hot iron rod, a metal rod. And around this metal rod, there is a current carrying coil. See, this is the copper current carrying coil is there. Let it be a current carrying coil surrounded this metal. Vertically, we have a metal. There is a current carrying coil circulated and surrounded this metal. And we allow the alternating current to pass through the circulating coil. So, through this coil, we allow the alternating current to pass through them. When current carrying coil, alternating current is passing through them, magnetic flux is continuously changing. Magnetic flux. We know that the magnetic flux along the solenoid is mu naught Ni. When I is changing continuously in form of alternating current, in alternating current, both magnitude and direction of current is changing periodically. We use the alternating current in our daily life, in all home appliances. We use the alternating current, in which the current changes both in magnitude and direction. As current changing both in magnitude and direction, the magnetic field through it also changes. So, magnetic field here B, magnetic field through it also changes continuously. B changes. And magnetic field is changing. B is there but changing magnetic field. The eddy currents are developed. We know that eddy currents are developed. Circulating current are developed in this direction. These are eddy currents developed inside the rod. So, due to this development of eddy current, there is a repulsion force exerted by the applied magnetic field and induced magnetic field. There is dissipation of energy. There is, due to this repulsion force exerted by the eddy currents on the applied magnetic field, there is dissipation of energy. This dissipation of energy transfer to heat energy that get heats the metal, and temperature of the metal get rises, and at melting point it melts. So this is the phenomenon. So that's why in induction furnace, this is said to be induction furnace, eddy currents are used for melting iron ore. Like that, any metal can be melted by using eddy currents phenomena. Let us recall quickly what I explained. This is the metal. The current carrying coil is surrounding, circulating the metal. When current, alternating current is changing, passing through it, that means current changes both in magnitude and direction very fastly. That change in magnetic, that change in alternating current, change in magnetic field. Here we have magnetic field which changes very quickly. The change in magnetic field through the bulk material, iron or any metal bulk material, induces eddy current, circulating currents as shown here. Those circulating currents opposes the change in magnetic field. There is a repulsion force between applied magnetic field and induced magnetic field due to eddy current, and there is a dissipation of energy due to these repulsion forces. This displaced energy transfer to heat energy, and temperature of the metal rises and it gets melted. So let us, here we go for the third application, in which the shiny meter wheels are rotated by using eddy currents. Here, this is the third application. Advantage of eddy currents. Nowadays, we are measuring the electric current consumed by us in each and every home by using digital meters. From last 3 to 4 years, we are using these digital meters. Now you may have digital meter in your house. That every month we measure the current consumed by us, and we pay bill respective of that consumed current. Nowadays we are measuring that consumed current in houses or any industries by using digital meters. But when you go back, that means 5 years ago or 10 years back, generally the currents were measured by the shiny wheel meters. So in some houses still there are this type of meters, but now the electrical department changed these meters with the digital meters, but in olden days each and every home equipped with this shiny meter. So this is an analog meter operated by using a rotating shiny wheel. This is the shiny wheel, students. This is the wheel. The shiny wheel is rotating, that changes the readings so that we can understand the consumed current. So here kilowatt hour meter, here see that this is the image of shiny meter, kilowatt hour meter. Students, all these images did not provided in our textbook. So I pick up these videos, these animations, these videos and these images, everything from Google. In textbook you can't find these images, just statements are given. So for sake of your convenience of understanding the lesson, apart from the textbook, I search so many videos and images in the Google, and I involved in our explanation. Let this be the shiny meter. So here the current enters that we use in our houses is allowed to pass through the coil. There is a coil here. Inside the meter there is a coil like a solenoid. Inside the meter, behind this one, there is a coil inside the meter. That is similar to solenoid. When current is passing through them, like let this be the coil. We allow the current, first the current passes through the coil and then it enters into our home. The current that we consume must pass through the coil. When current is changing, alternating current is changing, there is a magnetic field which is also changes continuously. Magnetic field changes continuously due to change in current both in magnitude and direction, and change in magnetic flux through this wheel. Wheel is the important device here. This wheel is made up of a metal, bulk material. When magnetic flux through the metal changes, as shown in this animation, the induced currents are developed, also known as eddy current. The circulating current also known as eddy current. Because of the eddy current, the face of the coil becomes a magnetic pole and there is a magnetic force developed between them. Due to this magnetic force, this wheel start rotating. So depending upon the change in current, there is strength of magnetic force that rotates the wheel. Depending upon the speed of rotation, the reading changes, that readings show the current consumed in our house. So this is the way of advantage of eddy currents in using shiny meters. So let us move on to the one more application. This is the very important application, students. Here, this is electromagnetic braking. Generally, in bicycle, all of you know about the bicycle. We apply the brakes, that is mechanical brake. A rubber shoe, press the rim of the bicycle and it stops the moving of bicycle. We apply braking. Applying brakes is very essential for each and every moving object. So we apply a mechanical brake for bicycle as well as mechanical brake for bikes, mechanical brakes for cars and buses and trains. But rather than using these mechanical brakes, if you use electromagnetic brakes, they are soft and wear and tear, mechanics and friction, there is a possibility of wear and tear of the parts. So maintenance is less because we avoid the wear and tear of the parts by using electromagnetic braking, and it is so soft and it is very cheap. So mechanical, in spite of using mechanical braking, just by pressing the moving wheel with any external drum or rubber and stops the moving object is mechanical braking. Only friction is the reason behind the mechanical braking. In spite of using mechanical braking, we may stop the moving objects by using electromagnetic braking also. So electromagnetic braking is due to the eddy currents phenomena. By virtue of eddy currents, there is a possibility of using this electromagnetic braking. Now they are used in so many industries, and food processing units are there to stop the moving objects in industries. Nowadays it is using. Similarly, elevators and escalators. Escalator, elevator, you know that. So escalators are there in so many shopping complexes and cinema theaters by which we move from one stage to another stage. In that, to stop the moving of the escalator, we may use the electromagnetic braking. It is soft braking and very easy to operate it. Like that, there are so many trains, not in our country. In Japan, there are some bullet trains which are moving with very high speed, at a speed of around 300 kilometers per hour. Such a fast moving train gets stopped softly by using mechanical. If you use the mechanical brake, large unwanted heat may produce that causes disadvantages. To avoid the disadvantages caused by the mechanical braking, we replace mechanical braking by electromagnetic braking. It is soft braking, and it stops the fast moving vehicle softly, abruptly. So nowadays there are so many applications. In amusing parks, there are so many wheels. Giant wheels are rotating, or sometimes mans are moving from one place to another place by using some hanging objects through a rope. There are iron ropes. Along the rope, there are hanging object. Inside the hanging object, they move from one place to another place. There are rotating giant wheels, rotating moving trains in circular paths. In the amusing park, you might have observed all these things. To stop them softly, nowadays, we are using electromagnetic braking. What not? In so many cases now, we are using electromagnetic braking. So I pick up a wonderful video from the internet in which we can know about the electromagnetic braking very easily. So in this image, we are observing electromagnetic braking phenomena. This is the shaft. For any rotating wheel, there is a shaft. Around this shaft, the wheel is rotating. So let us see the video of this one. So shaft is rotating. A red mark you are indicating. Shaft is rotating, and rotating shaft gets stopped. See, rotating shaft gets stopped by using electromagnetic braking. Now I would like to explain how the electromagnetic braking is operating. These are applications: packing and food processing units, medical equipment, now in robotics, as well as the elevators and escalators. Even in trains and amusement parks, we use this electromagnetic braking. Here, this is electromagnetic field coil. Here in this image, here this is the electromagnetic coil. Inside this drum, there is electromagnetic field coil, electromagnet. When current passes through them, so it becomes a electromagnet, electric field is produced. And this is the armature, and this is the hub which is fixed to the axis. So there is a shaft here, there is a shaft here, see this image in which you observe it. After the process, so let us here this is a field coil and this is armature and this is the hub which is fixed around the shaft. Shaft is fixed inside the hub which is attached to the armature, and this arrangement is given inside the drum. So inside the drum there is a field coil, electromagnetic field coil. So let us continue the video to know about the working of electromagnetic braking. So here we have, this is electromagnetic coil. At the top as well as at the bottom we have electromagnet. When current is passing through the electromagnetic fields are traveling like this. Electromagnetic fields are traveling like this. This is the process of electromagnetic direction. Because of current passing through the coil, obviously electromagnetic field. So let us observe the electromagnetic field produced by it in this video. See, so let us see the electromagnetic field generated when current passing through. This is electromagnetic. Like this, the electromagnetic fields are generated and passing through it. And when electromagnetic fields are passing, here there is some eddy currents produced here. This eddy currents produced in them applies the magnetic force. The magnetic force may press the spring. There is a linear spring. The magnetic force developed due to eddy currents press the spring and it press the shaft and get stopped. So this is the process. There are two ways in which we observe them. Here students, let us observe it. Two ways of braking. When this electromagnetic braking, when current is passing through them, I already shown in that video. In this way, there are electromagnetic field lines are passing, and this electromagnetic field lines produces eddy currents in armature. There is armature beside of this electromagnet, produces eddy currents in armature, and that eddy currents apply some magnetic force. That magnetic force and compresses the linear spring. There is a spring, compress the linear spring due to magnetic force, and that compression of the spring due to magnetic force compress the shaft. The armature compress the shaft and it may comes to rest. Or in other cases, without having this pressing of the spring against the shaft, directly there is electromagnetic braking. If there is one wheel and beside of it there is another wheel, and due to the flowing of the magnetic field lines, this is electromagnet, this is the wheel, metallic wheel adjacent beside of this electromagnetic wheel, and there is due to growth of flux through it, there is eddy currents. Now eddy current starts developed in it. There is a magnetic force developed between them. This magnetic force developed between them may stop the rotating wheel. This wheel may get stopped due to magnetic force. In that way, we apply magnetic force and mechanical pressing together in most of the cases, or even we may use only electromagnetic braking. Anyhow, when we want to stop the rotating object, we allow the current to pass through electromagnet, and magnetic field lines are induced in them, and they passes through the adjacent metal plate. Induced currents are developed, eddy currents, that produces opposite magnetic field, and there is a force between the rotating electromagnetic wheel and adjacent wheel, and this opposite force may stop the rotating wheel, or it may press the spring and compress the rotating shaft, and it may stop the shaft. In that way, we apply the electromagnetic braking. This is the very important. These are the 4 applications of electromagnetic braking by using eddy currents. So let us move on to the numericals. So far in this video, I talked about, first one is motion EMF of rotating bar and their applications, then eddy currents explanation, followed by it advantages of eddy currents. Let us move on to the problems belongs to them. A coil of radius 10 centimeter and resistance. So radius of the coil, let us write the data. So here radius of the coil is equal to 10 centimeters, which is equal to 10 to the power of minus 1 meter. And resistance of the coil, let small r be the resistance. This is resistance, don't get confused. As capital R considered to be radius, resistance small r is equal to 40 ohm. Number of turns in the coil is equal to 1000. So a coil of radius 10 centimeter, resistance 40 ohm, has 100 turns. It is placed with its plane vertical and its axis parallel to the magnetic meridian. So a wheel is kept vertical plane, and it is parallel to magnetic meridian. Its axis parallel. So let this be the axis of the object, and BH is also along this direction. Let the magnetic field be directed into the board. Along the axis means magnetic field directed into the board. Magnetic field is along the axis of the wheel, means directed into the board, and let the area of cross section be along same direction. And they are making 0 degrees angle with each other now. The coil is connected to the galvanometer and it is rotated about the vertical diameter. This is the vertical diameter. And coil is rotated about the vertical diameter through an angle of 180 degrees. Find the charge flows through the galvanometer. If the horizontal component of earth magnetic field is BH is equal to 3 into 10 power minus 6 Tesla. 3 into 10 power minus 6 Tesla. We have to find out the charge flown through it. Delta Q means charge flown through it. So this is the wheel. The axis of the wheel is parallel to horizontal component of magnetic field. Area of the coil is along the axis of the wheel. So area and magnetic fields are parallel to each other. Then the pi 1 is equal to NBA cos 0, and pi 2 is equal to NBA cos 180, because it is rotated by 180 degrees angle. Here data is given, coil is rotated by 180 degrees. So pi 1 NBA cos 0, whereas pi 2 NBA cos 180. NBA cos 180 means cos 180 is minus 1, pi 2 is minus NBA. Okay. Then the EMF induced is given by the formula minus delta pi by delta t. Minus delta pi by delta t means minus of pi 2 minus pi 1 whole divided by delta t. So minus pi 2 means minus NBA, minus of minus means plus, plus into pi 1 means NBA. This is NBA plus NBA, 2 NBA. By substituting pi 2 minus NBA and pi 1 NBA, it is minus 2 NBA into minus 1, that is 2 NBA. Then EMF is equal to 2 NBA by time taken. Whereas EMF is equal to I by R. I is equal to delta Q by delta T. So EMF is equal to I by R. I is equal to delta Q by delta T into resistance is equal to R. So EMF is replaced by this formula. EMF is equal to I by small r, current by resistance, current is delta Q by delta T. Cancelling delta T on both sides of this equation. The change in magnetic flux, delta Q, the change in charge due to change in magnetic flux. Delta Q is equal to, here on finding the delta Q value, here we have to find the charge flows through the galvanometer. That is delta Q is equal to 2 NBA into small r. So here we write E is equal to IR. Here I continue this problem in this side. So here EMF is equal to minus delta P by delta T. Then EMF is equal to IR. So we get R here. EMF is equal to IR. E is equal to let EMF is equal to IR. I is equal to delta Q by delta T. Delta T get cancelled. On cross multiplication, we get the delta Q is equal to 2nBA divided by small r. 2nBA divided by small r. Here A is equal to pi r square. Therefore 2nBA is pi r square divided by small r. 2nB pi r square divided by small r. Substituting the respective values, the charge flown through it is delta Q is equal to 2 into number of turns is equal to 1000. So 10 power 3 into 1000 means magnetic field is 3 into 10 power minus 6. So 2 into 10 power 3 into 10 power minus 6 into pi 3.14 into r square. R is given by 10 power minus 1, 10 power minus 2, r square whole divided by small r is the resistance, that is 40 ohms. 40 ohms. By simplifying this equation, 2 by 40 means 1 by 20, and by simplifying it we get 4.7 into 10 to the power of minus 6 coulomb. So when the wheel is rotated by 180 degrees, the change in flux is equal to 2nBA. Then EMF is equal to 2nBA by delta T. E is equal to IR. I means delta Q by delta T into R. Delta T get cancelled. Then delta Q is equal to 2nBA divided by R. So let us move on to the next problem. Question 2. The flux of magnetic field through a closed conducting loop. Flux is given by this formula. Phi is equal to AT square plus BT plus C. Whereas find the SI units of ABC. First question. SI units of ABC. According to principle of homogeneity of units and dimensions concept, each and every term must have the same dimensions. So dimension of AT square is equal to dimension of flux. Okay. Therefore dimension of A is equal to dimension of flux by T square. Dimension of flux is Weber. SI unit of flux is Weber by T square means second square. Unit of time is second square. Similarly, B bit, dimension of BT is equal to dimension of flux according to principle of homogeneity. Therefore, dimension of B is equal to Weber. Dimension of flux is Weber by time is second, Weber per second. Next, C bit, dimension of C is equal to dimension of pi. Dimension of C is equal to dimension of pi, that is Weber. Unit of C is equal to unit of pi, that is Weber. So comes to the second problem. Here if A is given by 0.2, B is given by, these are the values, 0.4 and C is equal to 0.6 respectively. Find the induced EMF at T is equal to 2 seconds. Flux is given. According to Faraday's law, the magnitude of induced EMF, magnitude, we are finding magnitude of induced EMF, that is equal to d pi by dt. Actually E is equal to minus d pi by dt. The magnitude is d pi by dt. So differentiating above equation, differentiation of AT square means 2AT plus differentiation of BT is B plus differentiation of constant is 0. Then the magnitude of induced EMF at T is equal to 2 seconds. At the time of 2 seconds, instantaneous value of induced EMF. T is equal to 2 seconds. 2 into 2, 4. 4A plus B. Substitute in the respective values. A value is 0.2 plus B value is 0.4. So 4 into 0.2 means 0.8 plus 0.4 that's value is equal to 1.2 volts is induced EMF in magnitude, then actual value of induced EMF is equal to minus 1.2 volts, because E is equal to minus d pi by dt. So let's go for the next problem. A square shaped copper coil has edges of length 50 centimeter. So length of coil is 50 centimeters, that is 1 by 2 meter, half meter length of coil, that is in square shape. Of course area is equal to L square. Area of the coil is obviously L square, that is 1 by 4 meter square area of the coil. Okay, it having 50 turns, so number of turns of the coil is equal to 50. There are 50 turns in the coil. It is placed perpendicular to 1 Tesla magnetic field. Suppose here this is the coil in square shape. Let this be the square shaped coil perpendicular to the magnetic field. Let this be the direction of magnetic field. So definitely the area is perpendicular to magnetic field, so that area vector is parallel to magnetic field. Surface area appears to be perpendicular to magnetic field, so that area vector is parallel to magnetic field. So placed in perpendicular to magnetic field of 1 Tesla, then B value is equal to 1 Tesla, strength of magnetic field. It is removed from the magnetic field in 0.25 seconds. So when it gets removed from magnetic field, the EMF induced is equal to change in flux minus phi 2 minus phi 1 divided by time taken. EMF induced. Here we have to find the magnitude of average EMF induced in the loop. So induced EMF is given by Faraday's second law, that is minus pi 2 minus pi 1 by time taken. When the coil gets removed, pi 2 is 0, so minus of 0. Pi 2 is 0 when it is removed from the magnetic field. When it is inside the magnetic field, pi 1 is equal to NBA by time taken. So minus of minus plus, then EMF induced in the removing of coil. During the removal of coil from the magnetic field, EMF induced is equal to E is equal to NBA by time taken. So number of turns are 50. Magnetic field strength is 1 Tesla. Area of the coil is 1 by 4 according to data. Here area is 1 by 4 into time taken is 0.25 seconds, which is also equal to 1 by 4. In denominator T is 0.25 seconds, 1 by 4 get cancelled. Then EMF induced is plus 50 volts. During the removal of coil, plus 50 volts. Comes to second problem. It is removed from the magnetic field in 0.2 seconds and restored in its original place in the next 0.25 seconds. Then during its restoration, if coil get removed and then restored into the magnetic field. During this restoration, what is EMF? So in B bit, EMF during restoration, formula is same. E is equal to minus pi 2 minus pi 1 whole divided by time taken. Pi 2 is pi 2 means final magnetic move. After restoration, pi 2 is NBA. After restoration into the magnetic field, final magnetic flux is NBA. Minus initially it is out of the magnetic field, so 0 by time taken. So it is also equal to minus NBA by time taken. Already we calculated the value of NBA by T. NBA by T is 50 volts. There is minus sign, minus 50. During restoring of the coil, the value is minus 50 volts. C bit, its motion. Its motion means initially it is inside the magnetic field and then it get removed, then it restored into the magnetic field. So when it is inside the magnetic field, pi 1 is NBA. And then when it restored into magnetic field, pi 2, this is the positions at which it is inside the magnetic field and then finally restored into the magnetic field. These are the two positions. When it is inside the magnetic field, pi 1 is NBA. When it is restored in magnetic field, pi 2 is also equal to NBA. Then E is equal to pi 2 minus pi 1 means 0. Then EMF is equal to 0. So during removal, NBA by time. During restoration, NBA by time. During total change from removal and restoration is 0, flux is 0, change in flux is 0, hence EMF is 0. So next problem. A conducting circular loop of area 1 millimeter square. So area of the loop is given by 1 millimeter square, means 10 power minus 6 meter square. Placed coplanarly with a long straight wire. Let this be a long straight wire. And here a conducting circular loop. Let this be a circular loop placed here. As shown in the diagram, the circular loop is placed coplanarly with a long straight wire at a distance of 20 centimeters. Let the distance of separation, let this be the distance of separation between them, that is 20 centimeters, 2 into 10 power minus 1 meter. The straight wire carries as electric current which changes from 10 ampere to 0. So I1 is the initial current passing through them, that is 10 ampere, and it is stopped to reduce it to 0. So initially I1 current is passing through it, which is 10 amperes, then it comes to 0. In a time interval of 0.5 seconds, 5 seconds, then find the average EMF induced in the loop. The area of the loop is negligible compared to distance, because area of the loop is 10 power minus 6 meter square. Okay, observe this value, and distance is 20 centimeters, 2 in 10 power minus 1 meter. So area of the loop is very small. That's why we assume there is uniform magnetic field present and passing through the loop. Therefore, initial flux is phi 1, which is equal to a number of turns, that is 1 here, magnetic field into area, NBA. So N into magnetic field, there is no given magnetic field, only magnetic field is due to current passing through the wire. If due to long wire current passing through the long wire, magnetic field is mu naught I by 4 pi d. This is the known formula from moving charges and magnetism into area. So this is the initial flux, and final flux is 0. I2 is 0. Because current is 0, current 0 means I0 means phi 2 is 0. Find the average EMF, that means magnitude of EMF. Change in flux by time taken. Change in flux means pi 2 minus pi 1. So magnitude of change in flux is this value, N into mu naught I divided by 4 pi d into area of cross section divided by delta t. So number of turns is 1, only one coil is there, 1 turn is there, mu naught by 4 pi, is 10 power minus 1, mu naught by 4 pi, 10 power minus 7, into current passing through it is 10 amperes, into area of the coil is 10 power minus 6 meter square, in denominator d is 2 into 10 power minus 1, and delta t, time taken, is equal to 0.5 seconds, that is 5 into 10 power minus 1. 5 into 2, 10, 10 get cancelled. So remaining value 10 power minus 7, 10 power minus 6, that is 10 power minus 7 mu naught by 4 pi value, 10 power 2 into 20 centimeters means 20 into 10 power minus 2, that is 2 into 10 power minus 1. This is the distance, 2 into 10 power minus 1 into time taken is equal to 0.1 second, sorry, this is 0.1 second. So 0.1 second means 0.1 second, 1 into 10 power minus 1. So this is mu naught I by 2 pi d is the value, sorry, mu naught I by 2 pi d, mu naught by 2 pi means 2 into 10 power minus 7. So once again, number of turns is 1. This is due to long straight wire, not finite, long straight wire, mu naught I by 2 pi d. So mu naught I by 2 pi means 2 into 10 power minus 7. Current passing through it is 10 amperes, and area is 10 power minus 6. Now 2 get cancelled in numerator and denominator. Therefore 10 power minus 1, 10 power minus 1 minus 2, bring this value to numerator, 10 power 3. 10 power 3 into 10 power minus 6 means 10 power minus 3. Minus 3 into minus 7 means 10 power minus 10 volts. Here, due to long straight wire, the magnetic field present is mu naught I by 2 pi d. From that we get that value. So let us move on to the next problem. So a bar of length 2 centimeters. We have a bar of length 2 centimeters. slides along metal rails. There are metal rails here, and it is sliding along the metal rails at a speed of, so length of the bar is 2 centimeters, that is 2 into 10 power minus 2 meter, and the moving with velocity 1 centimeters per second, 10 power minus 2 meters per second. The bar and rails are in magnetic field of 2 Tesla, B is equal to 2 Tesla, pointing out of the page. Then what is the induced EMF? We know that motion EMF is given by the formula BLV, motion EMF, BLV. Then B is equal to 2 and L is equal to 2 into 10 power minus 2 and V is equal to 10 power minus 2. That's value is equal to 4 into 10 power minus 4 volts is the value of induced EMF. So next problem. So here in the figure on the right, assume that resistance of the coil is 6 ohm and D 1.2 meters and the uniform magnetic field is B is equal to 2.5 Tesla. Magnetic field is directed into the page. So here let us consider, this is the bar and distance, this is the figure 1.2, so this is also considered to be L. Resistance, here the resistance between these ends is given as R value, that R is equal to 6 ohm. Magnetic field which is directed into the board is given by 2.5 Tesla and it is moving with a unknown speed is unknown, but it produces a current, but due to the motion of this rod along this direction, EMF is induced and the current is produced. The produced current is 0.5 amperes. Then what speed should it move? So V value, we have to find V value. Then EMF is equal to BLV, known formula. We know that E is equal to IR, Ohm's law. EMF is equal to IR, IR is equal to BLV. From that V is equal to IR divided by BLV. We have to find V value. Current is 0.5 and resistance is 6 ohms. B value is 2.5 into length is 1.2 meter. So here 1.2 5 times. 5 into 0.5 means 2.5 and 2.5 get cancelled, it is 1. Hence it is 1 meters per second is the velocity with which it is moving. So let us come to the last problem. A coil of cross section area A and having n turns. So we have a coil of area of cross section A and number of turns in the coil is equal to small n. Placed in a uniform magnetic field B, B is constant. When it is rotated with angular velocity, the maximum EMF induced in the coil. When it is rotated with angular velocity, so here the flux linked with the coil, suppose this is the coil and this is the diametrical axis. If the coil is rotated in diametrical axis, let this be the magnetic field. When this coil is rotated above diametrical axis, the area of the coil and magnetic field angle is changing. Then pi is equal to NBA cos theta is the formula, where theta is the angle between area vector and magnetic field vector. Then pi is equal to NBA cos theta means cos omega t. Then the average EMF induced is given by the formula E is equal to minus d pi by dt, differentiating it, NBA into d by dt of cos omega t minus omega sin omega t. So minus 1 into minus omega sin omega t. Then EMF is equal to NBA omega sin omega t. To get maximum EMF at particular instant, it has maximum EMF at which sin omega t is 1. Omega t is 90 degrees, at which sin omega t is 1. There is maximum EMF induced in it. Therefore, maximum EMF induced in it is given by the formula NBA omega. Okay, students, I hope you followed these concepts and problems very well. In this video, we discussed about motional EMF in a bar and a very important idea, that is eddy currents, concept of eddy currents and applications of eddy currents and numericals. Students, thank you very much. Thank you for watching.